Members of the international press, last week when they asked me to introduce, I had just 2 questions. What time and what aircraft carrier? Really excited to have him here, and this is a huge occasion. As you know, the 4 original members are back.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
That's just cold.
When
guy comes back
that...
to do a guest shot on the show, and the first thing you do is you come out and smack him with his football team.
The first thing I thought when I saw that scoreline, I was like, oh no, Andy.
How about them Colts?
I didn't expect them to win on the road.
That's
the difference.
Not really the same thing at all.
Yeah, and hey, there was a nice comeback effort. Yeah.
I don't think any of us had a particularly good week 1 in the NFL, did we?
No.
I think my guys got the
second teams.
Yeah,
beat our first teams.
Well, my closet second team won, beat the Raiders.
I can't get behind you getting behind the Jets.
Oh, come on. Oh, that's right. You hate the Jets. I forgot.
It's weird, man. That's a weird team to like.
How could anyone hate the Jets?
Yeah.
It's the uniforms.
I don't see how anyone can hate the Jets. I mean...
Oh, you just got a short memory, Mike. Remember how bad it was when Brett Favre was there, and then...
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, the thing about Brett Favre, though, was before he really started wearing thin.
But then that was followed by the whole Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez and that whole bunch of nonsense. And
I get that. I'm just saying, in terms of hateability, it's not like those teams ever accomplished anything.
True.
So, I don't know, when people are like, I hate the Jets. Like, really? Because it's kind of like just hitting a loud, obnoxious kid. I'm hating, like, a loud, obnoxious kid. Like, okay, yeah, but they're not going to accomplish anything, so...
So, Zach, how was the meeting?
These kids are stupid.
Okay,
if you have a company meeting, let's say you're running a company, right?
All right.
Sure.
And your company is broken down into different departments, marketing or whatever else it is in a business.
Production.
Okay.
Yeah, manufacturing, that type of thing.
When you're having your weekly, hey, how's everything going? This is what we're working on meeting. Do you invite the entire workforce to that meeting? Or is it just the heads of those departments?
In my case, it's always just been the heads of the departments.
Yeah. But what they're doing is, let's bring everyone that's in this production thing, and we're going to go through every single group and tell you what we're doing this week and how the meeting went and what we talked about at the meeting.
Oh.
So it's just like, why don't you just let us break up into our groups? So I think that's what's happening now, because I got my little job that I applied for. They didn't tell me what area I got. I told, like, on the little sheet, it's like, well, there's music, there's local events, there's things happening at school, there's sports. What do you want? I checked sports and only sports. So if I don't get sports,
there will be hell to pay. Has anybody got a fan running in the background or something?
I do.
Because it's really rumbling.
Is it?
Yeah. You guys hear it too, or is it just me?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
Sounds TV, just like mouth breathing.
I'm trying to move it. I don't have air conditioning, guys, so bear with me.
Just like move it so that it's facing you and not your microphone.
Yeah.
It's September. What do you need air conditioning for?
Mike,
it's 90.
Us Midwesterners and the Midwestern Canadian too. It really cooled off here today.
It is degrees. I love it. It is like chilly.
I can't. I love it too.
This is the perfect. Like, if we could just have this year round, I'd be set.
Yep. Sign me up. I love it. This is my favorite weather right here, and I'm so glad.
Now we're getting into the time period where we get to rag on Zach for the weather, because it's still, just saying.
Well, I mean, I saw Calgary Stampeders put out a picture of snow all over their field.
Oh,
so.
God.
Yeah, well, that's Calgary.
Calgary. Well, anyway, Andy's back. The band is reunited for a special one-night-only tour. Or I guess not a tour.
And it feels so good.
Yes,
So-
I have temporarily or something. I've returned again. This happens every now and then, but
It's one of your contractually obligated appearances.
Right,
Yes,
4 years.
We discussed this as I was like, I'm kind of like a Brock Lesnar of the show, where I can only appear so often. With the 2-year anniversary happening,
Yeah.
which is great.
50th show under the basically A banner.
I mean, is it? I thought it was more than that.
Well, total.
Okay.
Because we've had. This is going into year 3, so we've had roughly 100 basically as sports shows.
That's a good question. I don't remember if the More Like Radio era stuff was posted where we could download it, because I downloaded all the episodes I could, and I came up with 93, I think. So there might be others out there that I just don't have.
I don't know. I got a folder full of basically stuff, and I'm assuming it's got all the stuff in there from More Like Radio.
But it's got to be over 100 by now, doesn't it?
Easily.
Well, yeah, because there's 52 weeks in a year.
But we remember now, we were only on every other week in the summer for a while there.
Did we? I thought.
Yeah.
Did we go every other?
Every
We
other
had a-
week.
we had- yes.
Until we started on More Like Radio, we were going every other week. And then when we got on that, we had to go back to weekly. But I don't remember when we started there.
And then we have how many basically geek shows, Mike?
We just finished recording episode 31. I'll get that to you, Greg, after the show.
2 basically a lounge report shows.
Basically lounge reports. And how many weeks are in a football year?
Well, we did 20. I think it was 24 shows last year, and we just put up number 3. So I think it's
Yeah,
like
so
27.
we're in and around the 150 mark. We'll say that we've surpassed it.
We've talked an awful lot over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
It's always good to jump back on with you guys and talk some sports. And I was jonesing for it bad because football's back, and
Yeah.
Well, what's left of football is back.
It's a hard thing because, like, okay, so the NFL's back. I was jacked. Like, I hate the
everyone
preseason.
is.
Well, I hate the preseason crap because it's always like, yeah, football's back. And like, no, it's really not. Like, it's preseason football and it's really bad. And I don't want to watch it. But I mean, when it matters, the first Sunday, especially the first Sunday of the year, I was going nuts. I was up at like 5 a.m. and I was just like, I couldn't sleep because I was just jacked on football. And then, of course, the Bears lose, but that's beside the point. But then, of course, it's so amazing that in just a few days, the NFL has gone from football is back and Sunday games to scandal and lies and.
Apparently, last I heard, there's going to be an investigation into how the NFL handled it.
Yeah, they hired an independent investigating group or something like that to handle this.
Guy director or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that. But he has connections to the NFL. Like, he's done work for them before. So all it is a move to buy them time to let the uproar kind of go away.
Well, we talked about it on the football show earlier this week. I'll ask you, Andy, do you think that Roger Goodell should resign from all this?
Should resign, probably. But it's just not going to happen because ownership is making money. Go ahead, Mike.
Hasn't it been stated that he's not going anywhere? Like, if given the choice, he will not resign.
But at what point does it become? I mean, if they're all about business, doesn't it become bad business at some point to keep him around?
Well, but the thing is, it's done though. Like, Ray Rice is gone.
Right? Ray Rice is gone, but the scandal isn't.
Yeah, but I mean,
go ahead.
I just don't see. I think if you give it time, just give it time, and like anything else, it'll go away, and then maybe the ownership will suspend Roger Goodell for 2 games or 2 weeks or some crap. But really, I mean, the ownership has pretty much come out and said they're for him. They like Roger Goodell. They support him.
But
so
what does suspending the commissioner do?
That's like suspending the Colts. That's like suspending the Colts owner. Like, didn't he get suspended like a month? It's like, what? Oh God, how terrible.
Yeah. What is the owner? I mean, as long as the checks keep getting cashed, it doesn't matter.
Well, there's the thing that came out. I think it was either yesterday or today, though, is that there is some pretty hard evidence showing that the NFL someone in the NFL offices knew about the elevator tape. Now, whether Goodell actually knew about it or not, we don't know, but it's there. It just keeps getting worse. I think AP reported that someone had sent the elevator tape to the NFL offices, and then this person had a voicemail back from the NFL saying, yes, we've got it, yes, it's terrible, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, is this rock bottom in this thing, or is it just going to keep getting worse from here?
I do also believe there was another report. ESPN just ran a story where they indicated that a bunch of people close to Ray Rice have said that when Goodell met with Ray Rice early when this whole story first broke months and months ago, Ray Rice basically came forward and said and was essentially truthful about what happened. I mean, when the elevator video came out, Goodell said, this is contrary to what Ray Rice said to me. You know, I'm going to, you know, he essentially lied to me. Well, now people close to Ray Rice are saying, no, Ray Rice told him exactly what happened. And Goodell still did what he did. Still went leaning on it.
It's right here on Sports Illustrated's front page. Report, Ray Rice told Roger Goodell in June that he hit fiancé.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, any other league, I think, and I don't think the commissioner survives this, but this is the NFL, and they have shown that they are really tone deaf in a lot of ways from the very beginning of this thing. And I think Andy's right. I think he survives it. I think that in 3 weeks we kind of forget this all happened, unfortunately.
Well, we won't forget it, but I think
you know what I mean. It'll fall back to the back burners, is what I'm saying.
Sure, all of this is so. It's going to be so funny here in a few weeks when they start doing the breast cancer one.
That's what I think is gonna keep it in the public eye, because it might die down after a week or two, but then as soon as the breast cancer stuff starts coming out, people are going to go, wait a minute. Well, and then at that point.
Who's to say they wouldn't switch to purple, though, for domestic violence?
Because they already have all the pink gear made up, probably.
That's true. I guess that's true. But you
want to know the other reason why this may just go away? NFL fans are idiots.
Yes, and they have proven that.
Did you see the video I posted?
Yes.
The Deadspin video, the Ravens fans. Oh, what a bunch of...
No, I did not get around to seeing that.
Well, here's a quote from the first lady they interviewed, because they went basically. Fox Sports has a reporter on site at the Ravens-Steelers game tonight, and they found some Ravens fans coming into the stadium wearing Ray Rice jerseys. And so they asked them, well, why are you wearing Ray Rice's jersey? Don't you? I mean, you do know that he's not on the team anymore and what he did and all that. So the first lady that they ask, this is what she says, her quote, I don't believe in domestic violence, but I will say any woman who can hit a man shouldn't have to sit there and take the abuse.
I don't believe in domestic violence.
Domestic violence isn't like
UFOs.
It's not religion. It's not UFOs. It's not a conspiracy theory. It just is. There's nothing to believe in. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this was a woman wearing a Ray Rice jersey.
And there's guys, that say, she had it coming. It's just like, there's a camp right there. What the hell is the matter with you? Don't say that stuff.
As I said on the football show, when this story first broke, I was talked down to by I'm not sure what to call them, but people came out of the woodwork and were like, we don't know what happened on that elevator. Until I see what happened, I'm not going to label him as a monster. Well, you saw what happened.
Breaking news.
First of all, you've been retroactively labeled a dumbass. Secondly, I don't know. Like, again, let's just go back to the Penn State scandal for just a bit. When the NCAA first handed down those sanctions, they interviewed a family of Penn State fans, and the Penn State fans compared what was happening to their program to 9/11. So I'm inclined to agree with Zach, unfortunately, that when football comes into play, I don't know if it's football that makes people idiots or if football just attracts idiots or if it's a combination of the two.
The
Penn
State is a unique thing. I mean, that is a unique, sphere of brain dead people that like they were celebrating and cheering Joe Paterno's name and wanting the statue rebuilt over the weekend when they were raising or they sanctions and stuff like that. It's just like, what the hell is the matter with you? Like you know what happened. You absolutely know. Well, actually, to say that, that's more complimentary to them. They probably don't know. They're in denial of everything that happened. They probably believe it's all a lie. But with the NFL, we literally saw what happened. We had the video in great detail. Granted, you can say, oh, well, she spat in his face and she called him a bunch of words and names and stuff. But it's like Ray Rice, like his first reaction wasn't to shove her away.
Yep.
To maybe pimp slap her. It was to give her a left hook and knock her the fuck out.
Yeah.
I mean,
knock her out. Her
and then
head
afterwards,
hits the railing.
she could have been
Afterwards,
dead.
just kind of poke her with a stick, like, you okay?
Well, he just stepped
Shit.
over her like she was somebody that just tried to tackle him on the field. He just got
Yeah,
up
like, where do I bury the body is the look on his face, not, I need to help my wife.
But here's the thing. Okay, first off, the lady from the Ravens game who said that he was taking abuse, that wasn't abuse. She was barely touching him. I mean, she was smacking at him, sure. But the smart person, the person that isn't inclined to do this sort of thing, just walks away. You don't get in the elevator. You go, screw this. I'm going this way, and you go back over to wherever there are other people, hoping that maybe just the idea of other people being around will stop her from embarrassing herself. You don't deck her and then step over and walk out of the elevator and drag her out on her face. Come on.
Like, even if it was another guy, let's just say it was him and another guy, and they're like, I mean, it wouldn't be a fair fight. Like, I mean, no way could she answer blow for blow. Like, he didn't want the problem to go away. And so his solution was to just put his fist into her face and watch her head bounce off the rail. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was like a guy of similar size and stature that was, in his face. Then I would have said, well, that guy had it coming. He was right in his face,
Right.
Or a massive female bodybuilder or something like that who was like, his dimensions, where it's like, okay, well, at least she stood a chance to get some back. But, his girlfriend or / wife is not, she was never going to get another chance to get something in. What if she was dead?
Well, I was just going to say, he's lucky that she didn't die, because the way her head hit that rail, people die from getting hit like that. I mean, an inch either way, and she might, and it's a whole different story at this point.
However, hilariously enough, so tonight's game, the Steelers-Ravens game, which is currently playing in the background, and the Steelers are losing, to my chagrin. They had a really
Steelers are losing. Good.
Steelers are losing. They had a really great opening act that they had to cancel. They had Rihanna scheduled to play. And what a really terrible choice. Brilliant scheduling for CBS. The pregame show, they had to abandon that. But, really good job. Good stuff.
Is that why we got the barbershop quartet or whatever it was doing the national anthem? Or was that already planned?
I think she was going to do like a performance.
Oh, okay.
What did they have some country guy sing some crap last year before the season opener or something?
Yeah, it was one of those country guys. I don't remember which one, but yeah, I think we talked about it on this very show, for that matter.
NFL openings, by and large, are just the worst.
It's terrible.
The Sunday night football is the worst. Like it's the absolute worst. I can't get through the Sunday night football.
Waiting all day for Sunday night.
My eyes roll like 5 times over the course of that opening.
Al and Chris having fun on TV.
Now, it wouldn't be a Basically Sports Week 1 football episode without kind of just going over the pregame show nonsense. And I don't know if you guys saw. I'm sure you did. ESPN they got a brand new set.
I saw it. It looks.
Did you see Tom Jackson trying to use the fancy equipment?
I did not, but I'm sure it was hilarious.
Well, it's one of those giant touchpad screens where they diagram and they have all the buttons that's on every ESPN program. So Tom Jackson and his big fat fingers doesn't understand how technology works, and he's just kind of smacking at this machine trying to get the things to work, because he keeps having to select like circles and lines and different colors, and it's just a mess. It doesn't work out well for him.
It looks
and then Chris Carter, they gave Chris Carter his own segment to lead discussion, and it just was like he pulls out a list like, look, this is a list of PEDs. Like, yes, it is, Chris.
I love the new set because it looks even more like a spaceship than it did before. And But something else besides the set, like, I don't know, for the first time in a long time, and yet I've always kind of known, like, okay, yeah, these guys are old, but Chris Berman looks really fucking old this year.
Oh yeah, he's old. What do you want?
Like, I know he's old, but like he looked real. Like I've never seen him. Like it just kind of clicked with me for the first time. Maybe it was like him against that super shiny like spaceship set.
Yeah, I think it's because it's all like massively HD and the lighting is different now. And
is it the one with the staircase and the whole thing?
Yeah, like the whole thing's got like this industrial look to it. But what pissed me off the most about it was that they have like it's kind of a decent set, I guess. I mean, it looks good in HD, but in the background they used to have like Walter Payton and like Barry Sanders or whatever, like NFL legends. You know what they have now? They have Chris Carter in a suit, and like they have the hosts. The hosts are the backdrop now.
Yeah,
and it's abominable.
Well, at least they got rid of that opening segment where in like the intro to it, they had the segment where like Keyshawn Johnson was getting fitted for a suit, and that was part of the opening. I'm like, oh my god, that was the same opening that showed Mike Ditka hunched over in a dark room studying game film, like he gives a shit anymore.
Would you guys like to hear a few stats on this new set?
Yeah,
sure.
It is 9,000 square feet of space, equivalent to half a football field.
Sounds right.
Making it the biggest set on ESPN's Bristol, Connecticut campus. 6 different mini-set possibilities, plus additional stand-up areas, a film room with state-of-the-art touchscreen system that apparently Tom Jackson doesn't know how to work, a working research room, a second level including research and film room areas, hydraulic lifts to offer different looks and to easily move set pieces on the 3 main sets. Nearly all lighting is LED, close to 1,000 LED fixtures and 25 miles of LED tape, multiple movable LED screens, blah, 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 blah.
Why would they have one working research room? I mean, why wouldn't it be working? I would hope it's working.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's a street where maybe
as opposed to the ones that don't work, we have this one that does work.
Actually built a non-working research room where you just kind of go in there and you just kind of hang out. Would that be a lounge? Well, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what. Just wow.
The set's amazing in the worst way. The set actually perfectly encapsulates everything about the NFL. It is unnecessarily huge, unnecessarily gaudy. Hydraulic. What the hell? You think about what a pregame show is at its core. You get a bunch of analysts. You sit them down at a desk. And you say, talk about football for 3 hours until the games start.
Yeah, but you see this one, Mike, the set can levitate like a Kiss concert where flames and stuff can come out from underneath as they're rising up at the finale of the show. Come on.
I want to see that happen with Chris Berman in, like, Gene Simmons face paint.
That would be the best thing ever.
Speaking of Chris Berman, can we end the charade with him doing the second Monday night game?
I was going to say, yeah.
Do they not have any of their other football play-by-play guys that can pull one weekend where they do 2 football games?
Who was it was it last year or the year before? I forget who it was, but they did a really solid job, and I was very...
Brad Nessler.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, he does their college football. So they said, okay, well, there's one extra Monday night game, and you're the best, one of the better college guys we have that isn't Brent Musburger, so here, you go do it.
Yeah, because Berman, I can't even really call what he does play-by-play.
Touchdown,
Cardinals. It's a fumble.
He just kind of throws sentences out there and hopes that they match up what's happening is what it seems like to me.
In the game, they decided to talk about Ray Rice, and so they were talking about Ray Rice, and he was really avoiding saying anything bad about the NFL, and they're talking about Ray Rice, and a punt. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh,
it's like,
look, there's things happening.
A punt.
My favorite thing from that game that he called was, who was it with him? Trent Dilfer, I think?
Yeah, Dilfer's okay in studio.
Dilfer's another one who needs to just go off and disappear somewhere.
But
he's awful during games, but yeah.
Dilfer was referring to stuff that was happening in the league, and he kept referring, and he said, this is good, this is bad for our game. And being an ex-player, I think he can say that. He can call it our game because it is essentially he's part of that.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of, like in baseball, they'll say that. And then Berman comes along and he makes a statement. He goes, yes, this is good for our game. And I don't know why it just struck me. It's so annoying because it's like, Chris, you're not a player. You've never been in the NFL. All you are, you're a shill for the NFL. There's no question about that. But it's not, quote-unquote, your game.
He's admitted as such.
It just drove me nuts. But yeah, to get him to say something bad about the NFL, you'd have to torture him to get it out of him, I think.
I think, like, he's not that dense. I don't think he's stupid. I just think at this point, you know, he knows the NFL is his gravy train.
You think?
I think
he's not stupid.
I don't think he's stupid. I mean, I've heard interviews with him where he's actually really intelligent. But I mean, when he's on TV, when he's on ESPN, he's not Chris Berman. He's Boomer, and he has to go like caricature of himself, like Ditka. Like Ditka is not. I hope he's not like he is when he.
By all accounts, he is.
During the off season,
I've
Redskins stuff.
I've heard Ditka on the Howard Stern show doing just a regular interview where he doesn't have to worry about anything.
How long ago?
Oh, it was a few months back. Oh no, I take that back. It was actually a replay from a few years ago. So I you know what? I'm going to retract that.
He's been doing this for a long time, but what he does is he basically just goes wherever the wind blows him, and whoever his sponsors or his political leanings just will be satisfied by what he says. I think he was running for office at one point, but now he just kind of if somebody says, "Hey, Ditka, you're going to talk about this, you're going to play this role." Okay, I'm conservative, and then he just kind of bops up whatever.
It was weird because, and I can't for the life of me remember how this conversation came up, but he was talking on an NFL pregame show last year, and he mentioned how he thought that JFK was like one of the greatest things to ever happen to America.
Like him being killed?
No, just like Kennedy, like no, his election, not the death.
That would have been something.
JFK being killed, greatest thing to happen to this country.
The best thing that happened to this country in a long time was when JFK was assassinated. Damn it!
I wept with joy when his brain exploded out of the...
It was the best thing since
All
we
right,
could just go on the street and kill those red engines like it was nothing.
But then he's going on, and I see him on, he's on TV, he's praising JFK, and then on this Redskins thing, he comes out and he's like, "Damn liberals!" Like,
well,
JFK.
Yeah, It's the whole thing is just so insane. Wow. I think we this has become an annual tradition with us. The first weekend of the NFL, and we talk about all of the sideshow stuff that goes on with it, and it just this. I can't get past this new set of ESPNs. I'm looking at the staircase. I think it lights up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, it does.
Does it light up?
Oh
Sure.
man.
Why not?
I just saw.
But speaking of the opulence and the ever-present entity that is the NFL, Andy, I saw this on the boards. I wanted to get your comment on it, on the show. The White House had to take time out of the day to address the Ray Rice situation.
Yeah. It's.
You would think that I understand that they want to make a statement, but there are better things to worry about, and I don't mean that to at all diminish the domestic violence thing, but. If they're going to make a statement on it, shouldn't it be about the entirety of domestic violence and not just Ray Rice?
Well,
I think that's kind of what they were trying to get, but of course,
fuck. Sorry, I'm watching this video of Giancarlo Stanton taking a fastball to the face, and it is brutal.
That's not good.
Yeah, they funny enough called strike. So here's that if you guys want to watch that. But yeah, so what?
yes.
I got this. I just keep trying to talk, and I imagine a fastball crushing my jaw, and it's just. But what the hell are we talking about? I can't even remember.
Ray Rice, White House.
The White House commentary thing. I mean, it's slow news day. I don't know who cares? I guess they felt like I guess there was a congressional thing. Did not the Senate or Congress get together and write a letter to the NFL to be more transparent with their about this whole situation? I mean, I have no idea why that happened, but there was a signed letter that was signed by numerous government officials that I think were congressmen, basically to the NFL, saying, we would like you to be more transparent. I don't know if it was like an indirect threat, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that prompted them to maybe get this FBI guy to
well, what seemed to happen, the timing about this was really weird because out of nowhere, okay, they suspend Ray Rice, people are outraged, but then it kind of dies down. Then out of nowhere, the NFL comes out with this new hardline domestic abuse policy where if you get caught doing it twice, you're out of the league forever.
Right.
And a lot of people were like, okay, yeah, this is good. The timing of it seems suspect to me because only 11 days after that, the elevator tape comes out. So I don't know, like the conspiracy side, the side of my brain that indulges in conspiracy theories is going like, did someone get word to the NFL that this could maybe be leaking, and they put this out there out of nowhere to sort of try to mitigate the damage that was coming up?
No, the other part of that is the casino that this took place in closed, I think, 10 days ago.
Yeah, it did.
And the video came out just a couple days ago from TMZ. So what it sounds from that angle, what it sounds like is that TMZ sees that the casino's going out of business, and they know that all these casinos, anywhere you go, there's a camera in the elevator itself. So somebody there has the tape. So TMZ, because they don't have standards. Right. They don't have to, like, that's the other reason why, like, this sort of went away is because normal journalists, they couldn't have gone out and done what TMZ did. Wow. You can't just go hawking around for gossip and trying to buy videotapes. They could have, but they would have looked terrible in the process. Whereas TMZ looks bad, so they don't give a shit. Right. Yeah. So this is the job that TMZ's there for. So then TMZ goes and they pay the money and they show it, and now we're here.
But but don't you think the NFL? I mean, TMZ has no credibility. I mean, I guess they got to have some credibility because they're usually right. Some. I
mean, if it weren't for TMZ Sports, Donald Sterling would still be an owner in the NBA. But
the way it's kind of like, okay, Zach, you might like this. It's kind of like Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, when that
where's the videotape?
No, when that corrupt businessman is, like, about to be choked to death by Bane, and he's like, "You're evil," and Bane's like, "Unnecessary evil." That's kind of how I see TMZ at the moment.
TMZ, I love it.
Yes.
TMZ.ca.
But that's the thing, though. Yes, okay. But don't you think that the NFL should have been looking for this video long before TMZ decided, hey, we better go grab this?
I don't think the NFL...
according to all reports, they had it.
That's what I'm saying.
Either the NFL...
I think that's beyond the point. That's not the issue at this point. The issue is...
Why did they...
Supposedly the NFL had it, and they gave him a 2-game suspension. Then everyone complained and said, okay, we look really bad. Here's our new domestic violence things. Oh, guess what? There's a video. Well, now we look like crap. This story has gone in their face 3 different times now.
Well, I think at this point, it's either... I mean, we know they had it. I mean, there is documented proof that they physically received the tape.
Yeah.
So it's either they had it, they saw it, and only gave them 2 games after watching it, or they had it but didn't watch it. And if they didn't watch it, then that is just incompetence and negligence on Goodell's part, and he should resign or be fired on that alone.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Okay, with Roger Goodell, there's 2 ways to look at this. Either he's wildly incompetent or he's lying. And I think either one of those, in this particular case, should be a reason for him to step down.
Well, there's always the possibility that they throw they find some pawn, they pay some poor fool to be like, oh, I was the one I hid the tape, but I'm a rapist.
Yeah, they're going to find some middle management schmuck to be like, I failed to pass it along to Commissioner Goodell.
The other thing is, like, as people have brought up now, trying to review Goodell's tenure, in certain other circumstances, when he's had evidence, like the one that people brought up recently is the Patriots videotape thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they don't have those tapes anymore. They destroyed them once they got them. Mm-hmm. So who's to say that the NFL had the tape, said, oh, we can't let this get out, and burned it?
Well, of course, there's the great irony about all of this that Roger Goodell, I believe his words were, what did he say about the Saints when he suspended?
Yeah, right.
Ignorance it's not an excuse.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted. I try to keep track of these things when I see them during the week.
Sorry to steal your thunder on that, but there's also
no. That's fine because that's exactly it. Not only is Roger Goodell a liar, he's a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. Because he passed out all those Saints sanctions with the thing that, well, ignorance is an excuse. And what has he gone to as his stock answer for every single question lobbed his way this week? It's
to my knowledge, no.
Right.
Yep.
Well, guess what? You're in charge, so you should know.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy. He's the guy. He's the face of the business side of the National Football League. It's as simple as that. Well, he's the face of the disciplinarian side, of the discipline side of the NFL. He's the face of everything that isn't taking place on the field.
Executioner.
Right, exactly.
So, and something that I heard brought up this week too, that I think should have been considered a while ago, is when you think of all the other leagues. I know in the NHL, for example, Gary Bettman is the commissioner. Sure, he does not deal with player discipline. That is left to the player safety department.
It used to be Brandon Shanahan.
Right, and now it's Stefan Quintal.
Right,
Sheriff Stefan doesn't have the same ring as Sheriff Shanahan.
Are we going to have Stefana bands or something?
No.
Well, in baseball, yeah, it's the same thing in baseball. I don't remember the guy's name, but Bud Selig doesn't handle that. It's handled by, I don't know what they call it, but it's the same exact thing you're talking about.
And I mean, somebody brought it up in the discussion that I heard. They didn't relate it to those, but they related it to the President of the United States. The President of the United States doesn't deal with this sort of crap. He has the Attorney General to take care of that sort of thing, and the Justice Department. So Goodell should have never been the judge, jury, executioner. That should be somebody else's job, and then he'd have somebody to fire. If the NFL wants to do this correctly the next time, because the more and more we talk about it, and the more and more this gets discussed, and not just by sports fans or sports media, but the public at large, and I mean every single class that I've had this week, it's been brought up in some form or another. And these are, I'm not in sports classes; these are my regular college courses. So,
it's a human interest story because I mean it's significant and it's a big issue, obviously that go ahead.
Well, we said a little earlier that maybe they'd be able to get through this, or Roger Goodell would keep his job because he makes money. They can't keep him.
No.
There's no good way for this to go through without Roger Goodell losing his job.
No, there is not. There is not, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. It doesn't the NFL is so huge that it could do this and just be showing its dick off.
Well, but here's a question that we talked about on the football show, and I want to ask you, Andy. Mm-hmm. When we get 5 years down the line or something, or maybe even you can see it now, do you think that we can point back in time where the NFL is not the king of the world, that this was the point where it turned, where it finally kind of hit the peak and came back down the other side?
It depends. I mean, because let's just go ahead and theoretically say that after a few months here, Goodell just resigns in disgrace or is ousted by ownership after some more stuff comes to light. It depends on how they go forward, because if I'm the NFL ownership, you don't want this to ever happen again, in which case do create some sort of a system to where you have a representative or a face that's a commissioner type individual, and then you have a disciplinary committee of some kind that's probably got some ties to the NFLPA, which makes them happy. It makes things fair and kind of changes the way the appeal system works. But I mean, that obviously it may be too big of an issue. I don't see the NFL losing money. And as far as the popularity goes, it really just depends on. I don't think this will have an effect on the product. It really won't, because the NFL. It's not like it's different than rule changes or something like that. To where, because I think the rule changes are what will alter the game and make it go downhill faster than like this. This merely is a black eye. It's another thing put on the NFL. You could sit here and talk about Ray Rice all you want and Goodell looking bad. Greg Hardy was nearly almost choked his wife to death or his girlfriend to death on a pile of guns in May, and he's still playing and nobody's talking about it.
Well, just to bring, to further that point, Ray McDonald of the 49ers.
Yeah.
Wasn't he arrested after or was it before the new, stronger?
No, just like 2 days after.
And he played last week.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think with in regards to what you just said, Andy, I think the difference there is the on-field stuff. Sure, it's more of a concern to people like us, but the general public doesn't care. But the NFL, they can bring in those casual people. And those casual people may not know the rules changes and, it's destroying the game. They may not know or they may not care. But stuff like this, where it does permeate into the mainstream, that is the sort of thing that can start to knock it down a peg or two.
Well, look at it this way. A NFL football player last year drove to a facility and killed himself in front of a group of people.
Yeah.
That really had no effect on anything. It was just kind of like a whoa.
But honestly,
it got a gun discussion going for a weekend.
I think what's going to have to happen, and I don't think this is insignificant. I think this is a huge crack in the wall, so to say. I don't think it's going to bring it down by itself, but it is a crack. What's going to happen? It's what Greg has been saying all along. It's going to take someone dying on the field.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When that happens, I don't think there's any going back for the NFL.
Like I said on the football show, we've had a lot of little dings and nicks on the Shield over the past couple of years. This might be the very first a crack. I don't think it's a big crack, but I think it's the first actual crack, the first actual damaging blow that they've suffered since their ascension to the king of the world, as I think Zach referred to them.
Yeah.
So it's going to take more of this, but I just don't know how in the world. Believe me, I agree with Andy when I think that Goodell probably will survive this, but I don't see how in the world he can, and be able, and for anybody to take anything he does in the league does seriously after that. But it's not. We're not talking about some abstract theory here. It's an absolute possibility.
I think it might come down to how effectively the ownership thinks Goodell can be. Like, okay, the ownership is more or less standing beside him now because Goodell has made them more money than any other commissioner beforehand.
Too, yeah.
But if the story continues to develop in a way that paints him in more of a negative brush, and his ability to make them money is diminished, then maybe things get different. Maybe then things turn out differently. Maybe. And this is all hypothetical because this story is, in a lot of ways, still developing. It hasn't been finalized yet. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that tomorrow something comes out that irreversibly damages Goodell's credibility. Like, he can't talk his way out of it. He's screwed. And then sponsors. I
was just going to bring up sponsorship. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying that in that case, there is. I can see the possibility whereby the story develops in a way that the ownership decides that Goodell is no longer a viable option as commissioner from a business standpoint. Because, if things develop in a way that paint him in even more of a negative light that he can't get his way out of, then,
Well, here's the thing to think about, too. What if, and this is just a what if, but let's say that when October rolls around, the breast cancer researcher, whoever the big organization is that all this goes to, what if they say, you know what? We don't want to be associated with your product anymore. That's going to tell the tale. I think Mike brought it up, but the best with the sponsors. That's where we're going to see how damaging this actually is. If we start seeing sponsors drop off, then we're going to know that there's a real problem here. If everything stays the same, then I got to go with Andy and say he just rolls through it and survives it, and in 6 months we're talking about something completely different, unfortunately.
Well, I wouldn't think that sponsors would pull out. I think that's nobody gives up the NFL. Nobody.
That's true.
What I think would happen is let's hypothetically say that Goodell survives this. They make an announcement and say that the research found nothing. The investigation was flawless and Goodell looks clean. Well, then you have, like, let's say a major sponsor, Budweiser or somebody huge is like, well, we're considering dropping our sponsorship. That's when you see the ownership move into action and they collectively get together and say, you're gone.
Yeah.
Because a threat would occur before any severe action, because that's the cold, hard currency and the threat of loss of revenue is the only thing that would make any sort of action happen. Otherwise, this is just another issue that the NFL can just gloss over, let time go by, and let the great game sort of clear the air. I mean, it's sad, but that's the truth. Mm-hmm. Like that, he is only held accountable so much for the product that is put on the field and the ratings that are generated and the revenue created by the game and by the players and the sponsorships and all that stuff.
And just to talk about a little bit of irony, a little promo, a little bump right before they went to the break here showed, I think it was a Bears receiver making a touchdown catch wearing the pink socks and wristbands. So you got to love that.
I just want to make a hilarious quip real quick. I read. So John Abraham of the Arizona Cardinals is considering retiring for his memory loss problems. Oh, whoops. As soon as the Deadspin news broke about Goodell, or the AP report, one of the first comments on there, it killed me, was that the NFL has immediately promoted John Abraham as commissioner of the NFL. I thought that was great. Anyway, what were you going to say, Zach?
Well, I was going to ask. I mean, adding this. I mean, really, this whole summer into Roger Goodell's tenure as the commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this put him in terms of the hierarchy of commissioners?
Oh, currently, or like
does it how does it knock him down? How far does it knock him down?
Oh, I think it knocks him down.
Are we comparing him to
let's say
NFL commissioners or current?
We'll start with currently.
Okay, currently. Currently,
is he worse than outgoing Selig?
I'd say yes. He's worse.
I mean, Selig's done a lot of boneheaded stuff, but he's never, as far as I know, and I'll probably end up eating my words on this, but as far as I know, he's never let something this egregious happen on his watch.
We can all agree that Silver is number one right now.
Yeah, Adam Silver's done a great job.
Adam Silver just won the commissioner discussion just by handling of the Sterling affair.
Sure.
You know what? I'd even say
even this new Hawks thing too.
I'd even say this is worse than I'd even say this puts Goodell worse than Gary Bettman.
Whoa!
Because Gary Bettman's been idiotic, but he's never been this incompetent.
He's been okay. Gary Bettman's been corrupt and he's been stupid, but never to a degree like this.
That's what I was saying with Selig. Selig, the same exact thing. He's done a lot of stupid stuff, but it's never been anything like this.
Gary Bettman is more like a bumbling buffoon,
right?
Whereas Roger Goodell is now shaping up to be just maliciously evil.
There will be a really amazing 30 for 30 in a few years.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Well, no, it won't be because there's no way ESPN would ever allow it.
In 20 years.
Maybe.
Ish, you know.
But I will say, in terms of an NFL hierarchy, if we're just talking about Goodell's place among NFL commissioners, I still say he turns out better than Tagliabue.
Well, back up a second, though. I wanted to bring this up. We forget that with the whole Saints scandal, that Paul Tagliabue had to come in and straighten out that mess for Roger Goodell, if you remember.
He
did, but Paul Tagliabue also gave a guy an 8-game suspension for killing someone.
This is true. Well, if you look at it, really, the NFL's had essentially 3 commissioners because nothing counts before the Super Bowl era. So you've had Pete Rozelle, Paul Tagliabue, and Roger Goodell.
Al Davis for best commissioner.
I guess Lamar Hunt wasn't he the commissioner of the AFL, but
Lamar Hunt was the first commissioner, but Al Davis was the commissioner for the AFL for the majority of its run.
But so if you're just counting, I don't know who you could put a gun to my head. I couldn't tell you who the commissioner was before Pete Rozelle. I have no idea.
His name, like everything else pre-merger, has been purged from the NFL record books.
Yeah, and I mean, from what I understand, Pete Rozelle might have been a jackass, but he still made the league grow into at least half of what it became.
Same thing about Goodell. Goodell has been the commissioner during the most successful era of the NFL ever.
This is true.
However, he is also he's putting he's pulling out the proper Jenga blocks here for the whole thing to come tumbling down. He's like, I'll just remove this concussion.
Austin Gunsell was the last pre-merger NFL commissioner. He held the position from 1959 to 1960. Before him was Bart Bell.
I actually have heard of Bart Bell, believe it or not.
Before Bart Bell was Elmer Layden.
He was in your graduating class, Greg.
Yeah, funny. What was the other guy's name? The one right before Rozelle?
Austin Gunsell.
I want a football with Austin Gunsell's signature on it as the commissioner of the NFL.
He was only commissioner for one year, 1959 to 1960.
Yeah, but how cool that would just be the coolest thing. But
I don't think it would be hilarious if they never got around to making them.
He's William Henry Harrison of NFL commissioners.
Okay, can anyone tell me who the first NFL commissioner was?
George Halas.
Red Grange.
No.
Brett Grange?
No, Jim Thorpe.
Was it Jim Thorpe, really?
Yeah, it was
That's
Jim Thorpe, 1920 to 1921. Then Joseph Carr, Carl Stock, Elmer Layden, Bart Bell, Austin Gunsell, then Roselle Tagliabue and
A bunch
Goodell.
of badass names. If
But Elmer Layden, that's a man's name you don't hear anymore.
Roger Goodell, what a lame ass name.
Elmer
He
Layson
looks
would have
like
laid
he's
the
like
law
his name
down.
sounds.
Needs to be like Chuck Gunsteak, commissioner of the NFL.
Elmer Layden would have laid the law down.
Rock
you know.
Hammersmith.
Rock Hammer. That's a porn name.
Well, yeah, close enough.
You know, porn star NFL commissioner. It's a lot the same.
Biff Wife Beater. That'd be a good one.
Oh.
No. Okay.
Well, anyway, while we're talking,
Speaking of that, Andy, the thing that's been great over these last couple days, I know Adam Schefter has used this phrase a lot. In considering with what this is actually all about, where it started with a domestic violence punch to the face, can we, for this particular issue, can we stop saying this is a black eye for the NFL? Doesn't that just seem like it's out of taste?
Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
I can see why people would say we should stop using that, but I also think that you've got to realize that a black eye has been a term that we've used for situations like this for a long, long time, and I don't think that it's.
It's not something that I heard discussed. It was just something that because I watched an Adam Schefter video because he got all mad because the league lied to him, and nobody lies to Adam Schefter.
No, you can't lie to the ESPN experts. Come on.
I liked that term Andy used in the thread, though, this bringing the NFL down to a bent knee. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, they are finding their way slowly to this like threshold, and it's weird because we have all discussed it as fans. As we know, Greg has gone on quite a bit about it, how, the product for the NFL, you'll still watch it and you'll still enjoy aspects of it. But the game itself is, because it's not what it was, you don't appreciate it anymore. And while I still love the game for the most part, and there's a lot of stuff about the game itself that annoys the hell out of me, stuff like this, that is more or less an exterior force that is corrupting the product in more abstract ways, I guess. It sort of just taints it via association, where it's like, yeah, I love the NFL. It's so you like rooting for guys who beat on women.
Exactly.
Well, no, but as far as that does create a problem. It definitely creates an image problem, which is something that the NFL will gauge at some point. We don't really know when because this thing isn't finished. But it's to me, it's always going to be about the product on the field. When there comes a point to where the flags become a major problem, to where it's like there's just too much.
I was watching the first NFL regular season game I watched this year was New York Jets it was Oakland Raiders at New York Jets.
Okay.
I tune in, opening kickoff, first drive of the NFL season that I'm watching, and 3 bam, bam, bam flags on the field.
Yeah.
And, the football, American, Canadian, gridiron football by its very nature, I accept the fact that it's a start and stop game. I mean, that is the nature of the game. That's fine. But the penalties, it seems, have become more and more, the refs have become more and more liberal with their use of the penalty flags over the past few years, to the point where it's taking an already kind of start and stop game and turning it into this monotonous drone. It just keeps like you just can't get into it because it's a game with a very specific start and stop rhythm, and they're stopping it too much. It's not letting the fan get into the rhythm of the game.
Well, that's the thing. I'll go ahead, Andy. I was just going to say that's the thing with like every big play is the first thing that you hear out of the announcer's mouth is no flags. Well, that to me is a problem. My main issue with all of this, it all comes down to is pass interference, illegal hands and stuff like that. It basically, we don't know what that penalty is anymore. Mm-hmm. Like when you watch a game, you can't say. You can look at let's say a dude runs a route, a wide receiver, and he gets blatantly pass interference. You go in your mind, you go, oh, well that cornerback wrapped his arms around him when he was trying to make the catch. That is catch interference. Where's the penalty? In this case, because that penalty has been given such a loose and watery definition that is only really known to officials, it's open for interpretation, like you said, on every single play.
we don't know. And the NFL coaches know this, so they try to milk the flags as often as possible because they know
the players know this. You
Right.
see anytime there's a long pass play and there's a struggle for the ball, the receiver always throws his hands up looking at the ref like, come on.
waiting for that flag. And they don't always get it. But then there's blatant pass interference that isn't called. And to me, what this signals, and this is going into the conspiracy aspect of things, is that pass interference, because this is a passing league that they are trying to ever push towards the passing game, they are using pass interference in illegal hands and stuff like that as a method of making the games more exciting when they are not.
I don't like to think of myself as a conspiracy theory-minded person, but with the NFL, all this stuff sort of adds up in a way that I keep going, oh, maybe.
I've always believed that I don't think the games are necessarily fixed, but I do believe that the officials will, on occasion, call a game to give one team an advantage over the other. Not necessarily a very big advantage, but just enough to push things the other way. But this is something I've been waiting to ask here for a few minutes. With all the stuff we've just talked about, the Ray Rice going all the way back to all the things that have happened over the past couple of years, has it changed your viewing habits, or will we all show up on Sunday just like we always do? Is it going to be a little different? How do we feel about it?
This is going to be my last point because I got to go.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Shortly, but no, I'm still going to. I love football. I love the team I love. I love watching Bears games. And if the Bears start to just royally suck, which is a possibility, then, my viewing habits will probably shake a little bit until next season. But until the games becomes just totally unwatchable as far as rules or, just restrictions or flags, et cetera, then no, I'm still going to watch because it's fascinating. It's a great game.
Well, I'll just tell you this on your Bears: 10-6, and they'll get a wild card spot this year. So don't worry about what happens Sunday.
I'm trying not to, but I got to run, guys.
Okay.
Thanks,
Andy.
Thanks for coming by.
Yep. Bye.
I just want to let people know that about a month ago, the Oakland A's were like 3 games up on the Angels. Mm-hmm. And then the Angels took the lead after Oakland had a little slump.
Right.
Angels had a 3-game lead as they go to a series in Oakland. Oakland takes 2 out of 3, so the lead's only 1. Then Oakland skips a couple pitchers because they're having a 4-game series in Anaheim the next weekend. Oakland skips their pitchers. They get them lined up exactly how they want them, all set up in a row. They're going to retake the West. The Angels are going to slide back down and have to face the 1-game wild card. We'll see, the funny thing that's happened since then. The A's got swept in that series in Anaheim without the Angels' best pitcher, including a game where the Angels had to use 8 relievers in what ended up being a shutout. Thank you very much. And since that point, the A's have gone nuclear.
9-20. Yeah! 9 wins.
9-20.
That's that would be 11 games under 500 since then.
So I want to ask you guys this. How do you guys like sabermetrics now, huh?
Yeah, well, see, the thing is now the Angels, last night they won their 90th game.
Yeah,
so
baby.
They're the first team to 90 in the league. They're 9.5 games in front of Oakland. Thank you very much.
I just want to throw this in really quick, too. This is the Oakland A's that back in July everybody was saying, this team, this might be the year that they win the World Series.
They traded for Jeff Samardzija. They said, no, we don't need Yoenis Cespedes. We're going to get a big-game playoff pitcher, and John Lester. We're going to do it.
That is where I think they made their fatal mistake, was getting rid of Cespedes, because that was just a bad move. I mean, Billy Beane usually doesn't make dumb moves like that, and that was just a dumb move.
Well, I guess the calculator lied to him.
I mean, but with the A's, they've never made big moves like that at all.
Yeah.
So that was out of character in the first place.
Because they sent Cespedes to Boston for John Lester, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Oakland is now,
they're in danger of not even making the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, no, Seattle is breathing down their neck.
Seattle's breathing down their neck. Detroit/Kansas City is breathing down their necks.
Yeah.
Because Detroit is 1 game behind Oakland, and Seattle is a game and a half behind Oakland.
Yeah, and when you're in a 9-20 spell, I mean, it's not going to be hard for those teams to catch you because you're not playing good baseball right now at all.
Because guess where Oakland and Seattle play next?
Toronto!
In Seattle.
Oh.
This weekend.
It's I got to say,
if Seattle wins this series against Oakland may just be on the outside looking in for good.
I know.
And you know what? Nothing would make me happier.
Oh, that would be so great. And then we get the Royals in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And everything is good.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, but then everyone's going to end up losing to the Cardinals anyway. So.
No.
We'll talk about that in a minute because, dear God, why again?
Because the rest of that division is not very good, so it's nothing to worry about. Here's what I want to say. I want to pat all three of us on the back because back when we did our baseball preview, I'm sure that there were baseball fans out there that thought we were insane when we said, the Angels had a bad season last year, but if they get some hitting, if the guys play like they're supposed to, and they get the bullpen fixed, they're going to be really good. And we were the only three people in the whole fucking world that thought that at that point. Look at us now.
I think I'm the only person in the fucking world who predicted the A's to win the division.
The Angels.
I mean, Angels, yes. The Angels, yes.
But
I also, when we're looking at the AL West, can I just take another moment?
Yeah, by all means.
Hey, Texas. You're 10.5 games behind Houston.
Yeah.
How's that taste?
Mm-hmm.
Prince Fielder? Where's he at?
Yeah.
Where's Ron Washington gone? Oh, sexual assault allegations? Okay. Remember when everything was so rosy and they were 1 out away from winning the World Series just 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, look, I never thought that they were. Some people had them pegged as winning that division this year. I didn't think they would be that good, but I didn't in a million years think they would be this freaking awful.
No.
Man, I mean, you're 10 back of the Astros? Come on.
Yeah. And congratulations to Jose Altuve for hitting 200 hits. Last year, nobody hit 200 hits. This year, Jose Altuve did it.
Yeah,
so.
a lot of good it's done. And, well, they're not going to be in last place, but
yeah,
looking at their record, but
the
thing is, though, looking at their record, they should be. But Texas is so bad that the Astros, as bad as they are, can't finish in last.
Yep.
That's how bad the freaking Rangers are.
Yeah, the Angels only have to go 10-7 to get a 100-win season. They're second in their franchise history, whereas Texas can easily get a 100-loss season here.
And just one more thing,
they're the
too.
only team in danger of 100 losses. So.
In the American League East, congratulations to the Baltimore Orioles. Nice work. They're 10 games up. I mean, they're gonna cruise. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I would love to see your Blue Jays in it, but they're going to be over 500 this
Toronto's
season.
only 3.5 back of the wild card if Oakland keeps sliding.
Yeah, you never know.
That would make me happy to see Toronto get into
but not going to happen. I mean, they're not having a bad year. I mean,
they had a lot of
7
injuries
games
too.
Over 500.
Yeah, and they had a lot of injuries this year too.
It's not. It's definitely going to be one of their better seasons. But just what? Screw you, Baltimore.
Well,
screw you and your stupid logo.
This was one of Toronto's years that they might have actually been able to compete because Boston's awful, the Yankees aren't great.
Yeah, this was
Tampa
the year that they had.
Bad.
This was the year that they had to, make the most of, and they didn't.
Well, injuries played a large part in that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have Joey Bats for a while there, and I know they've had a lot of other injuries, so. I would take solace in that because I think they're probably a little bit better than their record, but the Baltimore Orioles, I just love it that here's what I like best. I like seeing the Yankees in third place, 10.5 out, and the only thing that might please me more than Texas being the way they are is Boston in dead last place, 20 games below 500, 23.5 out of first place.
Oh yeah, no, that is bloody brilliant. I know I just went off on the Orioles, but that's just sort of jealousy on my part. But on Boston, pure hatred. Screw you. Screw you, Red Sox. Screw you.
And look at the Washington. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to talk about the Nationals, but let's.
Yeah, I was just going to check in the Central. Kansas City, congratulations. You're doing so good. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm happy
being a game up.
I'm happy to see Superman's home team do well.
And just this, too, I said, this might be the year that they accidentally fall into a playoff spot. It looks like it might actually happen.
Because Detroit, I mean, you go get 3 Cy Young winners, and it's not working out the way that they wanted.
Go Midwest Dodgers.
But you know what? This is the thing about – see, this is what I don't like about those deadline deals. It killed the A's. It just absolutely destroyed them.
Well, yeah, but that's really that's not on anyone but Billy Beane.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of times when you've got a team that's playing good ball, the best thing you can do is leave it alone. Mm-hmm. Don't try to improve it.
Especially baseball, which I think chemistry plays a larger role in baseball than it does in a lot of other sports. Like in the NBA, you can take like a mediocre team, put one superstar in there, and suddenly they're playoffs caliber.
Yeah.
But with baseball, that's what I can say is baseball is so peculiar in how the game's played that if you're on a roll, just step back and leave it alone.
Exactly. I preach that every year, and they don't listen. But
National League Nationals.
Nats are back. Look at them go.
You know what?
That's a good team.
I want to toot my own horn again. On our baseball pregame show, I predicted the Angels would win the AL West and the Nationals would win the AL East. Both teams started off slow, but you know what? Both teams pulled it together. You got to think long term when it comes to baseball.
Yeah.
Well, and look at the Braves. I mean, they were everybody's pick for the National League East this year, and they're 4 games over 500.
They weren't Mike's pick.
Mike is loving this being so correct on the baseball predictions.
No, you know what?
I don't blame you. I'd be all over it, man.
I'm loving it, but at the same time, you know what? I trade the Nationals and Angels, being in first for a Blue Jays playoff berth. But
yeah. And the other, speaking of pure evil, Milwaukee. Why did you have to be the paper tiger? I thought you were.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have just held off the Cardinals?
So. Rams 80 had an interesting statistic.
Yeah.
that when Sam Bradford went down was at the exact moment when the Brewers started to suck. So
and the Cardinals started winning. Yeah.
And the Cardinals started winning. So it's the Eastern Missouri shaman at work again, sacrificing Rams' success for Cardinals World Series championships.
I don't doubt it. Dodgers holding on to a slight 2-game lead there in the West. San Francisco's coming on.
We called that one, too. We said it would be a tight race. I still think the Giants pulled this out.
San Francisco's been weird. Like, started off on fire, then just derped it up.
Oh, yeah. L.A. had like a 10-game lead in the middle of the season.
Yeah. Like for a while, it was like San Francisco's like, we're back. And then it was just like, forgot how to play baseball. And now they're back. So I don't know.
I'm not. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go what you were going to say.
I was just going to say, I know they're in first place. I know they've got a gazillion-dollar payroll. I'm not sold on this Dodgers team. I'm sorry.
Clayton Kershaw's dominant, but...
Oh, absolutely, but...
Yeah. Do you not believe in Magic Johnson?
When he played for the Lakers, absolutely. I'm not so sure about now.
We'll see. I mean, they're dependent on their pitching if they're going to do anything in the playoffs, and obviously their pitching's pretty good. Clayton Kershaw's might just be the National League MVP.
Yeah.
Because, Giancarlo Stanton was in the conversation because, I mean, the Marlins were kind of competitive there for a while.
Yes.
But when he took that ball to the face today, I think that kills any talk of that. Because Miami's only 5 games out of a wild card spot.
Well, they're only 2 games under 500. I think they're a lot better than people thought they were going to be.
Yeah. I mean, they're better than the Mets and Phillies.
One more thing about the
Pittsburgh is the other wild card team in the National League right now. If things stay where they are, they have a 2-game lead over Atlanta and Milwaukee. So Pittsburgh is probably going to make the wild card as long as they don't fall off. And then they get the 1-game playoff against, San Francisco's 2 game behind the Dodgers, so that's still in flux too. So, and they'd have to travel to either LA or San Francisco. So, who knows? Although, if it's a San Francisco-Pittsburgh wild card game, the Barry Bonds Bowl would be an interesting little contest.
Cardinals are on a 3-game losing streak. I still think the Pirates have a shot at taking that division.
Yeah, I mean they're what?
They're 2.5 back. Yep, 2.5.
So it's right there.
But this is the beauty of baseball this season is that you've got your division leaders are Baltimore, Kansas City, the Angels, Washington. I guess the Cardinals in the Central and Dodgers, Giants.
And they get the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Dodgers. But Pittsburgh, Washington, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same old cast of characters.
Oakland, Detroit.
I'm okay with the Dodgers and Giants. I have no trouble with either one of those teams. Although the Dodgers, it's a little less fun to root for them now that they've kind of become the Yankees West. But anyway, it's going to be fun.
At the same time, they haven't been. They're kind of like a legacy team that hasn't.
They haven't won since '88.
They haven't won since '88. So still, I'd like to see them do well. Maybe win a World Series.
It's very possible. That the Dodgers could end up with the best record in the National League, and the Angels have the best record in the American League. Freeway Series.
The Freeway Series. I'll take it.
It would be awesome.
It's always cool. We had the Subway Series between the Yankees and the Mets. What was it, back 2001?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Or 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then then even further back in the 80s, didn't we have the A's and
series.
Giants?
Yeah, the Earthquake
Of course,
series.
yeah. I mean, that always boggled my mind. That of course, in a series between Oakland and San Francisco, there's an earthquake. Like you can't even write that. That's just amazing.
I was watching that game when it happened. That was wild.
Yeah.
But
the other thing I wanted to mention: if the scores hold, the Angels will end the day with a 10-game lead over Oakland.
I think that
Lost.
even if Oakland hangs on to a playoff spot, I don't think they're going to hurt anybody.
Yeah. You know what? I want to see Oakland. Just go away, Oakland.
It would be so good.
Put the calculator away. Get some real baseball.
Well,
scouts
don't
there,
they have
see what
Seattle
happens.
this weekend? I mean, Seattle could put they could finish them
In
off.
Seattle, I wonder. Felix has got to be pitching this weekend for.
He pitches,
Seattle.
I believe, Saturday.
There you go.
It's going to be
All
fun.
right. Well, that's your baseball update.
Yeah.
We might just do baseball every week because it's the stretch run. It's important.
It's a stretch run, and things are getting interesting.
Talking baseball, Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Chavs!
Nice.
Let's talk some NBA to start this off, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. In an interview this week, or I guess he was talking with, where was he talking? The Bloomberg Sports Business Summit.
One of my
NBA
favorites.
Yeah, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver talked about the possibility of airing early morning Saturday or Sunday games so that they could be broadcast in prime time in China.
Really?
Yes. Primetime games here in the States are on early in the morning. And because China is becoming such a huge market, they're considering playing games at 10 a.m. on the East Coast on Saturday mornings in certain special windows.
I'm sure the players will love that.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. I mean, they may not like getting up early, but think about it this way, too. You've got the entire rest of the day on Saturday off, so that might not be so bad.
Yeah.
But, yeah, China is pretty big on basketball, aren't they?
Yeah, they love NBA basketball.
Well,
And so, I mean, there's in here they say that there's roughly 100 million basketball fans or NBA fans in China. That's what their research tells them.
that's like 2% of their population.
Right. But still, that's 100 million people
Yeah, exactly.
that are buying NBA stuff.
I would much rather hear them doing this than talking about putting a team in London or whatever.
Next up, college football game day news.
Ooh.
College game day. You know, last year they went to Fargo, North Dakota for the first time to look at the North Dakota Bison.
Right?
Well, they're going back there this weekend because there's no other good place to go. As Greg and I talked about, not a great slate of college football this Saturday.
No.
That's
So-
being kind, yeah.
Right. So when game day tries to go to the game of the week, but I mean, there's one really big ranked game with Georgia and South Carolina, but they already went to South Carolina. It's a big game, but they don't need to be there. It's going to be on CBS. It's not an ESPN game. I think they did this last year when it was a down week in terms of where they could go. They went to Fargo and North Dakota State, so they're going back there again to preview North Dakota State as they take on, get this, the University of the Incarnate Word.
What?
University.
Is that a real school?
I mean, in the awful announcing article, they even say that it sounds like a fake school from an SNL sketch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
But
Yeah.
University of the Incarnate Word. Do you want to guess where they're from? Could you even take a stab at where University
guess?
of the Incarnate
I'm
Word?
gonna put them in the Bible Belt somewhere, so I'm gonna say like Tennessee, Mississippi, something like that.
Western New York.
They are from San Antonio, Texas.
Hi, Greg's closer.
The school was founded by the Sisters of Charity of the Incarnate Word, who came to San Antonio in 1869 to assist with treating a cholera outbreak. It was originally chartered as a college for women. In 1900, the Academy of the Incarnate Word was moved to the Mother House of the Sisters of Charity of the Incarnate Word. They were accredited in 1998 at the baccalaureate and master level, and also given doctorate degrees. Do you know what their mascot is?
I do because I'm on their website, but I'll let Mike take a shot at it.
The Incarnate Word Saints. Oh,
They are the Incarnate Word Cardinals.
Don't you
okay,
think
that makes sense.
Don't you? Yeah, sort of. But don't you think they should have really gone all the way with it and come up with a really crazy nickname to go with that.
Actually, it's quite an original Cardinal logo. I kind of like it.
I agree with that.
And they have, on top of all of that, they have a football team.
They do.
Well, and when I went to their website, the first thing that popped up was that College Game Day is going to be in Fargo for their game.
Yeah.
I hope they give them a 1-4. Yeah.
What are these guys? Division? What? I guess it would be
They're
one.
Division 1.
Division 1.
Well, Division 1 FCS.
Okay, so like what used to be Division 1 AA.
Right,
so.
but all their sports compete in Division 1 in the Southland Conference.
Wow.
Yeah,
because honest to God,
varsity football teams.
Had any of us ever heard of these guys until Zach brought it up? No.
Actually, their men's soccer competes in the WAC.
Really?
Well, someone call Victoria Gooner, because I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah. You learned something this week. The University of the Incarnate Word.
I've got to have one of their sweatshirts. I've just got to have one.
I wonder what I want to see what their uniforms look like.
Ooh, that's good. Let's see.
Look it up. University of Incarnate Word football.
They don't even have athletics on their website.
Oh, they've got red monochrome. Oh,
no.
Well,
yeah.
they're a low-level D1 school, Mike. What do you want?
White pants.
White pants.
Okay,
Is it too much to ask for white pants? No, I have one here where they're wearing black pants.
Oh, the black pants isn't so bad.
Well, that's a picture of Lamar, isn't it? Yeah.
Pardon?
Lamar, the picture, whoever's just put the picture up, it's a picture of Lamar.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But, yeah, my mistake.
All right, let me see here. University of Incarnate Word football.
Yeah, no, they do have black pants. Okay, that looks better.
Well, they also have white pants in a different one I'm looking at. They have Nike jerseys with the flywire collar.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, they got Flywire. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? These wouldn't be bad at all. Look at the picture I've got here. The guy's wearing number 0. How awesome is that?
Guess who was a running backs coach there? This was last year. I wonder if he's still coaching there. But running backs coach for the University of Incarnate Word, Ricky Williams.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll tell you what, though, these uniforms, put some white pants at those, they wouldn't look bad.
Well, they do have white pants. I have...
Oh, okay, because the one I see is a black helmet with the red stripes.
Yeah.
Red jersey with the white sleeves on it and black pants.
They've got white pants.
All right. Well, I had no idea these guys even existed until about 10 minutes ago. All right, what's next?
Next, hockey coverage in a lot of these southern cities gets the low end of the totem pole when it comes to funding and things like that. Well, the Tennessean went to the next step and fired their beat reporter laid off, the Predators beat reporter. They will not have a beat reporter for the Nashville Predators.
You're kidding.
The major newspaper in Nashville, they decided they didn't need a beat reporter for the Preds. They said that it's all part of moving towards the newsroom of the future. The bottom line is that we're embarking on an ambitious project to create the newsroom of the future right here in Nashville. We're testing an exciting new structure that is geared towards building a dynamic, responsive newsroom. This is a, quote, reset for us, an entirely different way of operating that gives us more reporters and columnists and puts them even closer to the communities they cover. Our goal is to empower them and to be more focused on your needs and your interests. So basically what that means is fewer managers, more reporters, less hockey and high school coverage, and more college football, more of Nashville's, quote, lively retail scene, and more tourism writing.
Well, here's the thing. Why couldn't they – I'm sure that, especially with Vanderbilt being in town, I'm sure they could find an enterprising young college student that would be happy to get press credentialed and go out and cover the Predators for $25 a night. Yeah, I'd do it.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Oh, and the fun thing about all this corporate speak from Gannett, the newsroom of the future, they did that. They said the same words, newsroom of the future, 8 years ago.
Well, I think someone needs to point out to them that the future's kind of here.
Yeah.
Going on what they said 8 years ago.
As much as I love journalism and I love hard newspapers and I love writing for newspapers, man, is this just a dying enterprise.
Yeah, it really is.
It really kind of it kills me that newspapers are going down this road.
This is what. But again, going back to the Predators for a second, I don't understand this because here, you do it yourself. You get paid to go out and cover high school football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Am I mistaken, or don't the beat writers travel with the team?
Well, no. I know what they did here in Southern California before the Kings were relevant, and
so. What, 5 years ago?
Right. Well, I think it was exactly 5 years ago. The beat reporters for the Kings did not travel with the team.
Okay.
They only stayed at home. They would get AP reports from the road.
When I was covering the Syracuse Chiefs back in the day, that's the way that they did it too. I wasn't the beat writer, but I remember that there was a guy that came there to the home games, but he didn't travel. But anyway, the point being is that you could find somebody out there that would be more than happy to do that job for very little money. And instead of just trashing the whole idea, at least give that a shot first.
Yeah.
That's just minor league nonsense from a newspaper to not cover a National Hockey League team on a daily basis. Come on.
Speaking of cutting journalists, we're going to take a trip across the water to Ghana. One of the reporters covering the Ghanaian national team before their African Cup of Nations qualifiers, there was a report that earlier this summer there was a rapper that had been kidnapped and murdered. And so one of the reporters wanted to ask Asamoah Gyan, the captain of the national team, whether or not he or his brother or a group of people he knew had ritually sacrificed a rapper.
Okay.
Later, that reporter was kidnapped and beaten. The reports are the people in Ghana, they arrested the brother of the captain for possibly leading the group of men in the brutal attack of this Ghanaian journalist.
So he must not have been that far off the mark then, huh?
That's what it sounds like.
Wow.
So we had some supernatural cult stuff going on in Ghana. Wow.
I'm telling you, man. You can talk about soccer all you want, but you don't hear this shit coming out of the NHL. I'm just saying. You don't hear it coming out of baseball. No. Wow, that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah. That's African soccer for you.
I guess.
Ritually sacrificing rappers.
Well, my first question...
What end?
For asking about it.
What end?
Yeah, really, what was the point? And why did it have to be a rapper? My first question is, who knew that Ghana had rappers? But secondly, why did it have to be a rapper that they had to sacrifice, if that's in fact what they did, which it sure sounds like that's exactly what they did?
Apparently for some black magic purposes, possibly for a financial benefit.
Like a yak or a water buffalo wouldn't have done the same trick?
Apparently not.
Okay.
One of the headlines read, "Did you sacrifice the rapper Castro for riches?" Basically, yeah, fun things happening in Ghanaian soccer.
Probably don't want to be a beat writer over there.
And we'll go to the gift that keeps on giving, folks. The San Jose Sharks.
Oh, yes.
We've made fun of them in the past for wearing their black jerseys in the playoffs.
Not us.
Because, they said that it made them faster or whatever. And then they changed their jerseys, and it still didn't make so they were losing. But, they changed the regular jerseys to match the black ones in terms of lightness and speed. But they still didn't use them in the playoffs, and then they choked to the Kings in the first round. So they've reportedly, and this is even before the season has started, before training camps meet, before the rookies even report for their prospect camps, the San Jose Sharks have apparently made it known that if they make the playoffs this season, they will wear the teal in the playoffs.
God damn it, Sharks. I mean, wasn't the whole point okay, first of all, the whole less stripes equals lighter, faster, that's bullshit. But even if we accept that was your reasoning, the whole point of the redesign this past season was to make the primaries as quote-unquote lighter as the black ones, and then they didn't wear them anyway. They've been choking for like 10 years, and it's been really bad the last 4 they've been wearing the black. You'd think by now they would have clued into this. Like, not that I don't think they're going to be any better wearing teal, but I'm just shocked that it took them that long to realize, hey, maybe we should, wear our actual colors.
People refer to them as Team Teal.
Yes.
So it only made sense. And also earlier this week, a columnist with the San Jose Mercury News got a sit-down or a phone interview with San Jose Sharks general manager Doug Wilson. So he wanted to talk about about the offseason, how things have gone. It's been a pretty interesting offseason in San Jose, of course, as we've talked about all the time. It starts off with, woo, the summer sure hasn't gone the way the Sharks wanted, hasn't it?
To say the least.
Well, then we get a quote from Wilson saying, "It's gone exactly the right way we wanted," Wilson told me on the phone the other day. Oh. See, there's where we might all get confused. But during a lengthy and healthy discussion of all these matters, Wilson finally figured out a different way to frame his message, or maybe he finally just said out loud what he's been thinking all along. "I really want people on this team who are comfortable feeling uncomfortable. That includes the general manager, the coaches, and the players." So basically with Doug Wilson saying, yes, we wanted it to be a circus.
So this was planned?
Well, yeah, he says that it's gone exactly the right way they wanted, and he wants people on the team who are comfortable with feeling uncomfortable.
Basically, he wants people afraid for their jobs.
But you could also take the other way. Isn't losing pretty uncomfortable?
You would think.
Yeah.
Especially in the fashion.
With uncomfortable situations?
Especially in the way that they've done it. Yeah, I would think it would be very uncomfortable.
So, again, the gift that keeps on giving. The San Jose Sharks.
Sabotaging their own team. All that good stuff.
I want to go back to the jersey thing for a second.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Please.
We've all said that yes, the jersey thing is stupid and all that, but when you back away from it for a second, the fact that they announced that now, that just reeks of desperation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The playoff thing is so in their heads right now that they're announcing they're going to wear a different jersey already. But I do want to go back to the very beginning. We show nothing but the utmost respect for the San Jose Sharks on this show.
I wouldn't want the Sharks to do anything different than they have. Because what would we talk about?
And with that, we're going to wrap up, which I think is probably closer to our official 2-year anniversary show, because I believe the first show was later in September than last week would have been, if that makes sense.
I'm not paid to keep track of these things.
I'm not either. But anyway, as always, it was cool to have Andy back for his
Indeed.
contractually obligated appearance. And you can follow us on all the various platforms. I'm not going to mention them anymore because I decided that it's easier just to put together a pre-recorded tag at the end of the show and play it then.
Okay.
So that's how we're going to handle that. So if you guys have got any final thoughts, now would be the time.
Hockey season coming up. Go Leafs, go.
Go Rockets. As you've seen, I have totally just walked away from my Ohio State Buckeyes.
They're, 22?
They suck, is what they are.
The quarterback, go. Okay.
Yeah, the quarterback doesn't play defense, folks. Sorry.
Yeah, well.
But anyway.
Go Colts. Go Sun Devils. My game for Friday got changed on me. They don't want me to go into Laguna Beach anymore.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to Capistrano Valley as they take on San Juan Hills Stallions.
I have the Auburn Comets. Where the fuck did I come up with that? Amherst. Yeah, that's I guess. I have the Amherst Comets versus the Ellet Orangemen tomorrow night in high school football.
That's racist.
So that should be fun. At least it's not going to be 100 degrees. My God, last week in that game I had to do, it was 90-some degrees outside. And in the press box where we do the games, the sun shines directly into it from about 5 o'clock on. So when I walked into that thing, I'm not kidding you, it had to be 110 degrees in there. I couldn't lean my head down to look at my rosters because sweat would fall off and run all the names. That's how bad it was. It was brutal. Anyway, so that's what we've got coming up. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Basically a Sports Show. Be sure to tune into Basically a Geek Show number 31, which will be up sometime soon. Have you guys recorded
the Batmobile, Mike?
Yes, we did talk about the Batmobile.
Okay.
Basically a Football Show will return next week with another exciting edition, and hopefully this time we'll be able to talk
Domestic violence-free edition
Let's
of Basically
hope.
a Football Show.
Let's hope, anyway.
Domestic violence and cowboy-free edition. Basically a Football Show.
Are you sticking with the thing where you don't talk about Dallas until Tony Romo throws their season away?
But
he did that already.
I was going to say, I think he's already done that. With that, we're going to
basically a sport or basically a MP3 player near you.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
We should start marketing ourselves. Become KISS. Basically a chessboard. Basically a card deck.
Basically a casket. If we're going to go
basically
KISS, let's go all the way. Basically a shot glass. Basically an iPhone case. Basically a computer monitor. We could just
basically a World Farewell Tour Part 6.
I mean, that's the thing. Our name lends itself to these sort of endeavors.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is because it's basically it doesn't have to exactly be what we describe it as. Which is the nice part.
It's basically a spatula.
Right.
We'll just sell you a spork.
All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Basically a Sports Show. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Check out the entirety of our podcast lineup on our website at basicallyasportshow.com. Follow us on Twitter at basicallysports To follow Basically a Football Show on Twitter, go to BA Football Show, and follow Basically a Geek Show on Twitter at A Geek Show. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time right here on Basically a Sports Show.
Please hang up and try again.